to last a bit longer. The QEH launches its wish list, and in sports, South Africa mauls the West Indies.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
A very good evening to you. I'm Pearson Bowen. The egg shortage that has been plaguing this island for months is expected to last a few months longer. That's the prediction from the Barbados Agricultural Society and the Barbados Egg and Poultry Producers Association. Carlisle Brathwaite, the president of both associations, gave CBC News an update on the situation today on the first day of AgroFest 2015. He expects it to continue until the end of May.
We have baby chicks on the floor growing, and by the end of May they'll be ready and laying. They will start laying, so we will have eggs from them, which will then carry our egg production up to what it should be, or the required amount. And by July, August, when we have the other set coming in around September, they will then push our egg production above what is needed.
Mr. Brathwaite says there are serious issues to consider going forward, especially as it relates to how the poultry industry meets demand for the hotel sector.
It's not just Barbadians taking eggs as it was before. It is now Barbados. They have a very large hotel plant this year. They're all 100% occupancy. And they have demanded a lot more eggs than normal. And now we have the cruise ships coming to us and telling us they want eggs. And if we don't supply them in a proper manner, they would not want from us any longer.
Meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul, has made clear that egg imports are not hurting the local poultry industry. That's because, according to him, the situation is being properly managed. But he admits that the pressure of the current demand for eggs is actually good for the sector.
This situation also exposed opportunity, because what I think is that really with the growth in tourist arrivals this year and the fact that the industry has come under pressure, I would say, to have supplies available, I think it's a good thing. And I think that what we need to do maybe as we go into future years is to anticipate the kind of impact that the arrival of tourists will have on the industry and the fact that there will be a demand for local products.
Well, it appears the future for agriculture in Barbados is bright. The assessment is based on the reaction of youngsters who attended the opening of AgroFest today. Shane Seeley spoke to some of them.
AgroFest is the place where hundreds of students from various schools across the island get to see what agriculture is like firsthand. But there have always been questions about the future of agriculture here in Barbados. So the question I put to the students today, do you see a viable career option in agriculture?
Well, if it's something that I have to resort to, I would do it, because I think as Barbadians we need to take the initiative to get involved in whatever we need to bring up our economy. So if it is that livestock is where the money is to be made, I think it would be something positive to do.
You say if you have to resort to it, so then to you, you're seeing it as kind of a last resort then, or could it be a first choice?
It could be a first choice, or it could just be a mixture of both, because I would like to go into being a chef as well. So then the two could go hand in hand. So I would be able to produce my meats to use in my restaurant or whatever I need to do.
If I do have to resort to being in agriculture, it will have to probably with the livestock, because my father was into it already, and it would be easier for me to go that way.
What do you want to be when you grow up? What is your ideal career choice?
Executive chef.
You see anything that you personally would be interested in?
Yeah. The agriculture area where the crops are growing.
AgroFest is not only a learning experience for the students, but for the teachers as well. Felicia Johnson, a teacher at St. Elizabeth Primary, says her students are keen when it comes to agriculture.
Yes, they do, especially the boys, because we spent almost an hour and a half over by the cows and the sheep and things like that. And also I had given them a worksheet, so there are different things that they have to find out. So it's not just about coming and running around and going from one place to another. They actually have to fill out a worksheet, identify different features of the animals, and when they go back to school on Monday, they have to present the report.
How do you think that argues for the future of agriculture?
Well, I think it's going to be, I think it's pretty safe in the hands of some of the children. Others maybe are not so keen because of the smells and the different things and the advance of technology. But the thing is, at St. Elizabeth Primary, we have a lot of children who actually do have animals at home, and we do have a garden at school. So they have a tendency, they already interact with animals and agriculture in that way, and they have a natural talent and gifting for these things. So when they come to AgriFest, it's about seeing how they can develop the agriculture in St. Joseph and bring it out as something that can become a career.
AgroFest continues tomorrow and Sunday at Queen's Park. Shane Seeley, CBC News.
There is tremendous potential for entrepreneurship on the island, and many entrepreneurial enterprises make up the majority of the businesses in Barbados. This from Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Stephen Lashley. He was speaking to an audience on day 4 of the Week of Excellence seminar at the Barbados Hilton under the theme, Bridging the Gap. He said more encouragement must be given to entrepreneurs to help them succeed.
Unlocking the power of entrepreneurship will build the pillars that are needed for success so that we can create a strong entrepreneurial sector and innovative businesses that generate, retain jobs, and create new products and services, and constantly diversify and leverage technology to take advantage of emerging opportunities. Entrepreneurship has the capacity to create a healthy economy, expose new avenues for growth and competitiveness, improve efficiencies, and strengthen our productive capacity.
Construction of a new $10 million civil aviation building is progressing well. Acting Prime Minister Richard Seeley visited the construction site in Christchurch this morning with other officials to get an update on the work. Ryan Broom has the story.
It's been less than a year since construction work started on a new civil aviation building at Charnox in Christchurch. And while they have encountered some foundation issues, all indications are that it should be completed in another few months. The acting Prime Minister was accompanied on the tour by officials from the Ministry of International Transport, Grantley Adams International Airport Inc., the Government Meteorological Department, project contractors and consultants. Mr. Seeley says the project will not be affected by cost overruns as everything has remained on schedule and within budget. He says it will be good news for employees of different departments who have been moving around to different locations in some cases.
It is essential, if we're talking about taking civil aviation to another level, that the regulators have appropriate facilities that they can operate from in comfort. They have been scotching for too long. You know, a section here, a section there, another section yonder, and we're talking sometimes between Bridgetown Warrens and the airport and that type of thing. So we're getting away from that, having everyone in one location.
Mr. Seeley says there will be other benefits the completed department will bring for Barbados, particularly in terms of Air Operator Certificates or AOCs.
It also hopefully will mean that applications for AOCs and licenses for people to operate here and so on should move quicker once the officers are happier. Now, you're not operating on top of a garment factory anymore in the Seawell Industrial Estate. You have good conditions, and we look forward to that.
Director of Civil Aviation, Kingsley Nelson, says staff in the department will welcome the new location.
The staff of the International Transport Division, Civil Aviation Division, they are eagerly looking forward for the occupation of the building. We have been moving from here and there over the years, and they have been operating under some very challenging conditions. All right, so right now they are really looking forward for the completion of the building and also to do the work that we have to do. The Mayor Office also, they have been moving here and there too, and they are also eagerly looking forward, to be in the building in order to do their work in comfort.
Meanwhile, Dr. Winston Harvey of CAS Engineering, the team leader on the project, says despite some initial challenges related to the foundation, they were able to overcome them and stay on pace.
One of the main things that allowed us to move quickly was the high level of cooperation we had among our consultants and particularly our interface with the contractors and of course their subcontractors. We've had a pretty smooth operation here. We've not had any major problems, any problems at all with the contractors. We've not had any safety issues. We have maintained a serious, tight safety regime on the project. So really and truly, the project has gone on without any significant hitches.
Ryan Broom, CBC News.
A pedestrian who was knocked down by a car along 2 Mile Hill on Monday morning has succumbed to his injuries. The police are now investigating the unnatural death of 34-year-old Jamie Kenroy Selman of St. Barnabas St. Michael. He passed away at the hospital on Wednesday night, where he was being treated for injuries sustained in that accident. The car was driven by Grenville Belgrave of St. James. Coming up after this break, major concerns about the impact of non-communicable diseases in Barbados. But first, we want your take on this question. Do you think AgroFest could be used as a promotional tool to drive local agriculture? Text yes or no to the short code 8111. Those results at the end of the news.
Win a cruise this year with Byco. Just spend $10 on any Byco product and claim a scratch card. You could win 2 7-day Carnival cruises, courtesy of Foster & Ince, and 2 dinner cruises from Black Pearl Party Cruises, or one of 501 liters of Byco ice cream and 1,000 Byco bandanas. See press for a list of participating outlets or call Byco at 430-2100.
Cultural industries can help grow the economy. Do you know that the Cultural Industries Development Act will encourage the growth of a sustainable, profitable, and national creative sector? The Act offers benefits to certified practitioners like musicians, filmmakers, artists, craftspersons, and all types of designers by providing funding, duty-free concessions, and income tax benefits for projects. Become a certified practitioner and register on the website www.barbadosartists.bb. For more information, contact the Ministry of Culture at 621-2700. The Cultural Industries Development Act, boosting our economy through our creativity.
Non-communicable diseases are at an epidemic level in Barbados. This is according to the Vice President of the Barbados Association of Retired Persons and the former Minister of Health, Dame Billy Miller. Well, just yesterday, Chief Executive Officer of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Dr. Dexter James, announced that NCDs were having a devastating impact on the finances of the hospital. Dame Billy says Barbadians must take personal responsibility for their health.
Self-care means that your health, your life is actually in your hands. These are the hands that bring the food up to the mouth. We have to stop digging our graves with a table fork.
Dame Billy was speaking just before the signing of an MOU between BARP, the Barbados Diabetes Foundation, and the Heart and Stroke Foundation at the Maria Holder Diabetes Center in Warrens this morning. President of BARP, Ed Bushell, says the 3 organizations have been working together for the past year, and the MOU formalizes that relationship.
We are confident that these partnerships are going to result in excellent results by ways of increased advocacy, education, and reduction of NCDs, especially heart and stroke and diabetes.
The Queen Elizabeth Hospital has launched its 2nd equipment prospectus, and the officials there are optimistic it will help to fill the shortages of medical equipment at that institution.
Doctors, representatives from the private sector, and media were among those present for the launch this morning. The 2nd equipment prospectus, entitled Selma, aims at getting cash or equipment donations for the hospital. The document also lists the amount of equipment needed and the cost of each piece, which ranges from $1,000 to as much as $300,000. Some of the items include vital sign monitors, surgical lamps, ECG machines, stretchers and ventilators. CEO of the hospital, Dr. Dexter James, says the cash donations will be strictly used for their intended purpose.
On the prospectus itself, we ask that donors complete the donor information sheet and return it to the office of the Chief Executive Officer. Within 24 hours of receiving the request, someone will contact you and advise you on the next steps. I want to make the point that all donations received through the office of the Chief Executive Officer are acknowledged in writing, and in cases where the donation is made on a cash basis, the acknowledgement will be accompanied by a receipt, an official receipt of the donation.
Head of the Department of Internal Medicine, Dr. Anne-Marie Hassel, says there is great demand on the hospital.
People come to the hospital now, don't come to the hospitals for minor things. Minor things are dealt as outpatients. It's not like how it was 40 years ago. When people come to the hospital, they're really sick. And that's why we need the monitors and equipment to help us care for them. Because we can give much better care to a broader group of people if we have this sort of equipment at our fingertips.
The current equipment shortages have also impacted the Accident and Emergency Department.
As I mentioned before, we only have 24 beds and we only have 4 monitors. So we really can't offer proper monitoring to patients in a timely manner to those persons who have their life-threatening complaints, and that's one of the concerns that we have. So you would see when you're going through your prospectus some of the things that are needed on a general basis.
The first prospectus was launched in December 2012 and raised over $6 million. A full copy of the second prospectus can be viewed on the hospital's website, www.qehconnect.com, from Monday. Lisa Broom, CBC News.
Well, the Chief Executive Officer of the hospital says it costs close to $200 million to deliver premium health care to Barbadians. But Dr. James also says those services are under threat by an increasingly unhealthy population. Speaking at the University in the Community series at the Central Bank, he reiterated that 8 of the 10 leading causes of death are non-communicable diseases, and projections are that by 2025, 1 in 3 people, or more than 30% of our population, will die from an NCD. An estimated 14 people go to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital monthly with heart attacks and close to 2 a day with strokes. Globally, Barbados continues to hold the second spot per capita for prostate cancer. The CEO says Barbados offers the widest range of services in the region, but he says there has to be a shift in how healthcare is funded.
That's what the global budget does. It promotes inefficiencies. However, if I was being paid for the extent to which I keep that patient healthy, he comes in, I have a seat, and I spend half an hour with him to find out how things are. Because I know when I send in my report, if it shows that his diabetic condition is uncontrolled, I ain't getting paid for it. So we got to change that whole model of the way the entire health system is financed.
It was a learning experience for students of Harrison College as activities marking Africa Awareness Month came to a close. This year's focus was on the journey of the black race, as we hear now from Kishmar Sijus.
The sense of pride in our heritage was evident in the dress of students from their African wear and headdress. The month was one where students were exposed to the motherland, its people, food and culture.
We wanted to give the students an opportunity to explore their roots, their culture, and we therefore came up with a few things that we thought we could do. One of the ideas we had was to have our students wear African wear. We thought it would give them a chance to show their creativity.
Principal Juanita Wade says though having a diverse population, many can trace their roots to Africa. She is encouraging students to not only embrace their heritage, but think of what contribution to mankind they can make. There were 3 feature presentations as part of activities marking the month. The third today was with Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism and International Transport, Senator Irene Sandiford Garner. Her presentation, the contributions of the late James A. Tudor, a man she described as the father of black commerce in Barbados, worthy of national recognition. AHC students tell CBC News the month is significant.
I enjoy the month. I think it's very important to recognize our heritage as black people and how we can move forward in terms of empowerment.
This is a time for us to really show the world what we have
that we're not just slaves.
But it's not only important to just leave behind your past. We need to let the children know where we came from and where we're going now. So I think it's a great job by the administrative staff.
This month is amazing because the awareness of what we went through and who we are today, because a lot of people take stuff for granted, stuff that we see every day.
Black History Month is a great way to make people more aware because as Barbadians we're more focused on the Western side of things. So to open our eyes to what happens in Africa and where our roots come from.
We need to know where we come from, our roots, and I think it's good for young people to know about Africa and where we come from.
Kishma St-Just, CBC News.
Still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region. But first, a reminder, we want your take on this question. Do you think AgriFest could be used as a promotional tool to drive local agriculture? Text yes or no to short code 8111. Those results are coming.